Alright, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Sly, and today we're followed by an unexpected guest. Today we'll be followed by Nicholas, also known as Deathstroke. Now, Deathstroke isn't a YouTuber or a streamer, but does however have a vast amount of experience, more than I, and probably anyone else in this community. He's been working with Ubisoft for several years, as well as a tester with many years under his belt, and with extensive knowledge in the marketing department, who has an expert level in Mortal Kombat play, and is a pro CS player. So, Deathstroke, would you like to say hi?
Hi everyone, first of all I want to thank Sly for this opportunity. I'm here to discuss about several subjects that I think that needs to be discussed and exposed.
Alright, that's no problem, bro. I'm glad to have you on. So, as Deathstroke says, we're going to be talking about Xenoverse 2 as a whole, ranging from not only the game itself, but also the players of the game, and what we both feel could be and should be implemented into the game to perhaps improve it for everyone, as we both want the game to succeed. But as I'm a novice in this department, I think it's best I let Deathstroke take over from here. So, Deathstroke, what should we get into first?
First, I think the bugs and the broken stuff needs to be addressed soon, because that can really hurt like the longevity of the game and also where the game is going from that point.
Yeah, I think things like certain moves, like I know for example the move God of Destruction is, I always mix them up. It's anger, the beam.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
anger, yeah.
Yeah, breaking the stamina. Now, I know a lot of people are very controversial about this, but to be honest, I think that's okay, because the move is used by a god, so I think that if you get hit by that kind of move, it should break your stamina. Maybe not put you in the recovery status, like how if you get down stamina broken, it puts you in, but I do think it should break your stamina if you get hit by it. Or maybe at least, I don't know, do some other effect, but I don't mind it breaking stamina. The problem I feel with that move in particular isn't the move in itself, but as other moves that go into it. I'm mainly talking about Absolute Zero. Is there anything you'd like to add to that, or?
For the anger beam,
Yeah.
I have the same output as you input. I mean for that, because what it does is that it breaks your stamina. I have no problem with that. The problem will be more that it can put the opponent into a loop that he has no way around it, and you have to take the damage over and over and over again. I would say with some minor tweaking, I think the move can be considered fair. Also, it goes for the same thing when it comes to the Dodorio headbutt. I know Lex exposed that move,
Yeah.
like showing that you can almost get infinite, and you know, as long as you have key, I can keep looping you into that, and you're gonna die eventually because there's no way out. So that's an issue, but I don't think the move itself, like for the anger beam, being a problem. I think it needs some minor tweaking. And same goes for Absolute Zero. I don't think the move is broken, but I think it's a bit strong. There's a way out around it. You know what I mean? If you respect the move, you're not gonna get trapped into it.
Yeah, like one of the things that we talked about just before this as respecting moves is a lot of people forget that they have the choice to scout your opponent and have a look at what moves they actually have. So, for example, if you start off the match and just have a quick scout or a quick glance at everything they've got, there's nothing really that they can catch you off by surprise with, because if you see what moves they have, you know which moves to watch out for, because especially if you look at the evasives, Absolute Zero is one of the only evasives that starts with an A, so you don't even have to read it. Just quick glance, AZ, you know what to watch out for. If you see anything else like the Wrath move, then you know what to watch out for. But with the move itself, again, I think that move is a little bit too rewarding for what it is. It's in the same situation right now as Go Gum or Go Gum, the move that I put out there a little while ago that ended up turning into some extremely cancerous cancer for Xbox, mainly because a lot of people on PS4 haven't picked it up yet. Because on Xbox, fights are ending in like 3 or 4 seconds because people start off with max key. One Go Gum decides the match, and that's not what should be going on, honestly.
Exactly. This is like OP moves that needs to be balanced by certain ways, like increase key, increase the stamina cost, or put less recovery, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That will, can balance those things. I'm not too scared of those things. What scares me more is the broken stuff that you can't get out of it. More like, I can give you an example because I'm not going to go into like precise details, but for some Gogeta combos that are unbreakable. I can combo you, you can't Z-vanish out of it, you can't evasive moves out of it.
Oh
you
yeah,
have to
those
fucking
ones.
all that damage and you're fucked. That's it. You have other moves that are invincible on startup, and also that leave me plus on block, which means that you hold block, I give you my move, and then you have to keep holding block, because if you release block and try to punish me after that, you're fucked. I hit you again because I'm plus on block, which means that I have my next move gonna need less frames to start again than any move that you're gonna do. So that's something that breaks the game.
Yeah, I think on block, like adding things like Go Gum is good in the sense of I wouldn't say it's a command grab per se, but it's I don't know, it's command grab is the closest thing that I would call it. Like it's a move that can't be blocked, so it gets through the grab. I mean, it gets through the block, but at the same time, it's too rewarding for what it allows you to do afterwards. Things like time stop, for example. It's a more toned down version of the move where you can charge it up to stun them for longer, and it still gives you the advantage of doing whatever you want, but you have to charge it to a certain degree to do certain things. And it's just things like that that need a little more work on, because the move in itself is a good idea. I like the idea of the move, I like the move itself, but what it offers you afterwards is too much. And I think that's one of the problems with this game in general, is that a lot of the moves offer you too much, and a lot of the things offer you too little. And I'm mainly going a bit off topic here on a tangent, but Super Souls, I don't understand why we have like 5 to 6 Super Souls boosting charged Ki Blasts when none of us utilize it, and then we have these really lackluster Super Souls that just don't do anything for anyone, and then we just get this thing where everybody's using the same Super Soul because there's nothing else good to use. Like for example, I really like using the cooler Super Soul that poisons you, but because like it's an RPG game, but status effects don't really matter in this game, because if you get poisoned, the poison is so insignificant. It almost doesn't even matter at all. Like we tested this, it takes about 11 minutes to take half a health bar with just poison alone. I think that if something like poison is going to be implemented, especially against the Namekians, it would be good that perhaps against other races, it just does a set amount of damage on ticks, and then when it gets to people who regenerate, it speeds up the ticks so they take more damage consistently to battle the Namekian regeneration. Because honestly, fighting a Namekian player is kind of to the point now where it's he outranges me, he outfights me, I get him low, and then he out heals me, so I have to not only fight him through his range, but I have to fight him through his healing too. And I feel like if you add something more, or at least make something like poison a little more impactful, considering there's only 2 known ways to poison people in this game, that it would add a little more diversity to the game, whereas I know poison, with the way the Super Soul works, poison is permanent. If they changed it to something more like you have to reapply the poison every, I don't know, once in a while, they could up the damage of the poison, up the ticks to make it better, but it would have to be, reapplied after a certain amount of time. I think that would be a nice way to balance something like that out, make it more significant, because as it is right now, those have absolutely no use, if I'm honest.
Yeah, well, I agree with that, because if you want to have diversity in the game and not everybody using the same builds, like you need to be able to balance all the moves. Like games like Street Fighter 5, all the characters are mostly variable because the game is balanced well. And I think this is a big problem in Xenoverse games. The balance is kind of iffy in my opinion. There's clearly like top tier characters that are way too strong, top tier moves that are way too strong compared to others, making some moves completely useless.
Yes.
So I think all those things can be fixed if the devs really take in consideration their testers, like their top 10 maybe tester that are working for them. They should consult them and say, what, how could we make certain things better or nerf certain things. And also they should take in consideration, like maybe after like a couple of months, the top like 30 players on ranked, and
Yeah.
make them play beta versions of patches and stuff like that, and ask them what we can do to fix certain things. And I think for that there's chance, there's still hope for that to happen.
The only one thing I'd like to say about that though is my only problem with that is when it comes to ranked, it's more so the players who have more time, as well as players who promote more of an almost cancerous playstyle where it's just they use the most of top tiers of whatever things. and it comes more down to who has the stronger skills, who can survive those 3 minutes and have the more health at the end, compared to the I'm a better player. I know what I'm doing. I know how to play, but I'm playing to enjoy myself, and I'm playing to promote fun gameplay. Because looking at the leaderboards, I mean, you see people like Neo Fraud Goku, of Phantom Elisa, those kind of people on the leaderboards like previously, where it's more like I mean, Neo Fraud isn't that bad, to be honest. He's a pretty decent cast player, but you get other players, for example, who do things like cheap tactics to win, and just because they get the wins, they're in the tops of the leaderboards kind of thing, you know what I mean? And it kind of shuts off the other players of the game, and then just leaves it in the hands of people who potentially don't know what they're actually doing.
That is exactly my next topic. So we're gonna move to the community.
Yeah.
I agree 100% with you, but like I said, it's gonna take a couple of months. But they're all gonna get exposed by their real players. Their tactics that they are doing now, the cheese, like all the things that people are not. They didn't put time in the training mode to test, and they don't know how to go around them and overcome, like certain moves. They're all gonna get fucked by that. They're all gonna lose, and that's exactly what you meant. But they're all gonna get exposed by the people who put the time, the people who put the work, and how to overcome things. Then they're gonna lose to them.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the thing is that people are complaining a lot and not adapting. They're saying, this move is too strong, this and it's broken, this and that, but they didn't put the time. I guarantee you, like 90% of those people complaining didn't even spend an hour in the training mode. They didn't spend even an hour with a friend trying to overcome certain things, certain situations. Like sometimes you're put into a situation, you think, man, there's no way out, but there's maybe one. You have to put the work. You have to do the search, man. This is a grind. A fighting game, like every fucking game, you need to put time in to be ready for every single matchup, situation, moves, characters, anything. So before complaining, you need to adapt, because there's like the people who complain, and are mostly sometimes like the people you said that go into rank match, use certain tactics over and over and over again, keep winning. And then the first time they get exposed, start crying for nerfs, start crying for broken stuff.
Yeah.
And they don't want to adapt. They don't want to go back in the lab and, okay, where did I do wrong? What can I do better? What can I do? They're not that kind of person. So that's the definition of a scrub,
Yeah.
So it's the kind of people that are never going to go to the next level, that they're not going to reach like semi-pro or pro level and anything, or even like very high level without being a pro, So I don't claim to be a Xenoverse pro, but I know what it means to get high level in a game.
Yeah. I think. Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, sorry. I didn't want to cut you off.
Oh, it's okay. I was just gonna say, like, I think one of the things with Xenoverse is that although I say this all the time, that it's not a competitive game. Like, people need to understand what I mean when I say it's not a competitive game. Is when I'm comparing it to games like Street Fighter and things like that. It's not a competitive game, but there's still the factor of playing to fight other people. That's still, as it's been said in some of my comment sections before, that I ignore that, which I don't. I do acknowledge it, that is still competitive, because at the end of the day, fighting games, like you fight someone else, people fight, there's leaderboards, it does have its own competitive scene. It's not that type of competitive game, you know what I mean? And it's kind of just like, that we still have to go into the lab to learn how to get around things, to learn how to make things work, to learn how to how to combo this into that. And it's kind of just like people take that and they don't do anything with it. People ask for the training mode, we get the training mode, and then they don't use the training mode. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's been added now, but it's not being utilized. I spent more of my time online in training mode, just trying things out to see what happens, than I do actually playing online or doing parallel quests and things, because it's just a lot in the game. And I feel that another problem is that there isn't enough in the game, because once you've gotten all your well, you've gotten the super moves you know you want. You've gotten the super moves that you know are available, that's available to you. It's kind of just like, well, now that I have everything here and I've been through basically everything and I found all the things that work the best, there's no real point in going to do anything else, because there's nothing else to get. Like with Super Souls, yet again, there's no differentiation between them. There's literally like 5 or 6 of them with the exact same effects. They are kind of just redundant at this point, and it's kind of just like there's nothing else for you to do, and the game is just gonna die off in the first few weeks because there's not enough content in the game. We have our characters from the previous game. We have like 5 or 6 new characters. We have a few new variations, a couple of changes, and then we have a bunch of characters that they ruined from the last game who nobody will want to play because they're not good, they're not viable, they're not playable because they've been ruined. Like a lot of people have, especially like I know people don't play Cybermen or Frieza Soldier, but I like to play Cybermen and Frieza Soldier, and the fact that those two you can't even stamina break on them, like you can't physically do it. It's kind of just like so these characters they're actually just unplayable. They have no health, no damage, and I have no chance to fight because I can't break someone's stamina. And once I run out, that's kind of it. I just hit them 4 or 5 times, their stamina comes back, and there's nothing I can do about it. And it just makes playing like a majority of the cast just feel kind of redundant, or makes them kind of irrelevant, because you have your Gogeta, you have your Cooler, who has infinite range on his punches because of how large he is, but because of manual step vanishes and lag, you can't punish him for overextending. Like if you block his punch and he jumps behind you and he punches you and you move back and you go to back attack him or whatever, and he just manual step vanishes backwards because of the lag, he just tanks one of your punches and then hits you again, and there's nothing you can do about that because lag is such a predominant issue in the game.
Yeah, well, it's funny that you talked about that because I did a lot of labbing, like I told you.
Yeah.
And yeah, Cooler and Broly, since they're fucking huge, they have like one of the best back punch in the game that beats almost everything because they outrange you. So it's crazy. With the lag, sometimes you think you're away, but they still hit you because they have huge hurt box on their punches, and they catch you on the way back. So yeah. So that's but to answer your comment, that's the community job to make the games fresh by suggesting, like patches and tweaks and changes to the game, so the game stay alive and stay relevant. And for competitive wise, there's a lot of things that I'm going to discuss with you that I think will be something that can happen and to give hope for the more competitive players.
Yeah, like I think another thing for me is it feels like there's a wall. Like I'm not saying this out of disrespect, but it feels like in the previous game it felt like there was a wall from us to Bandai Namco, and Rhymestyle was just kind of in the middle. He was kind of the only messenger there was to get to them, and I say this in a respectful way because you have to understand that if he is one person and we are like, I don't know, several hundred people, if we're all messaging him constantly, although he is like the biggest voice of our community, there's only so much that he himself can do, and it gets to the point where someone like him would have to ignore a lot of the messages because there's just so many coming in, and he has to dedicate his time because he has a life, he has his own things to do during the day. He's playing too, he's enjoying himself, and he's doing his own thing, but because he's so big in the community, like he has the biggest impact, and his say has more weight to it. Like his word has way more weight to it than any of us individually, unless if everybody was to, I don't know, come together and collectively not buy something or not pay for DLC, because
exactly.
that's when it starts to hurt their wallet. But the problem is people are in this mindset of, it doesn't matter, I'm just gonna buy it anyway, I'm not gonna think about why don't I wait and, watch these bigger YouTubers or other YouTubers who I know will buy the DLC, see what they have in the DLC, and really think to myself, is it worth me spending my money on it? And to be honest, especially in the case of Xenoverse 1, like the first DLC, to be honest, I don't feel like it was even worth buying that. So like even now with this game, I don't feel like I paid my 60 bucks and got what I paid for. I feel like, hey, I paid 30, I paid 60 and got a glorified DLC of what the first game should have been and should have had. But at the same time, I'm paying extra for it when I shouldn't be, because I have to buy the DLC and the season pass and all that stuff to come too, when they haven't made me feel like the money I spent in the first place was worth it. Like collectively, if we all just came together and just didn't buy DLC and just sat around, like, I'm not saying sat around and complain, but if we all sat and, made these videos discussing these problems specifically, and nobody is buying the DLC and they're losing sales, that's when it really starts to hurt them, and that's when they really realize, well, shit, we have to listen to what they're saying, because we're not making sales and we're not making money. And if we listen to what they're saying as to why they're not buying, we can find out what to do to fix these problems. Because as soon as you hurt a company's wallet, they will listen. Like, you're twisting their fingers, that they're gonna respond, they're gonna react, because they have no choice.
Yeah, well, exactly. First of all, like you said in my intro, I'm a capture artist for marketing now for Ubisoft, so I know a little bit of how developers work and think when it comes to what they're gonna do for DLCs or things they're gonna do in the future for future game of the brand. So when it comes to DLC, well, it depends what type of player you are. If you're a casual player, you enjoy new characters, new costume, new moves, new missions. Well, that kind of player is gonna keep buying those DLCs. They're gonna keep buying and buying, and then that's gonna tell the dev is that, oh, do you like that? We're gonna keep doing this, and we're gonna keep making money. So that's the thing. That's a good thing for casual players. They're still gonna get content. They're still gonna enjoy themselves, and that's great for them. But when it comes to competitive players, sometimes we want for other things. Like, let's say we want more, a better online. We want a better ranking system. We want new game modes, or that kind of things. Well, that is way more rough to get, because that requires more resources. Sometimes redoing certain systems in the game that it's gonna cost you a lot of money to do, and all those things. So for people that are like Rhyme Style, that's a great guy. He's good for the community. He's good for the game because he brings a lot of visibility on the game. So more customers, more people buying the game. That's great. But he's not really into deep stuff. Like he's not exposing techs, or the game's broken shit, or solutions for certain moves or certain things. He's not really into that. He's giving you tips for like getting the Dragon's Ball faster or leveling up faster, but it's not necessary what you, CodeSly, Lex, and Shadow Pierre is doing, like by showing like deep stuff in the training modes, and that is what is helping more the hardcore players more than what Rhyme Style is doing. I don't disrespect him. I think, like I said, he's a very good person for the community and for the game.
Yeah, he definitely does pull his weight around, because at the end of the day, he is the main reason that a lot of these, like, the newer players are getting into the game, because they watch his content. He's an enjoyable YouTuber. His content is enjoyable to watch. It's entertaining. So people are gonna want to come in and play the game and see what's going on and have fun, and play with him, and get interactive and get involved with him. And that's good, because that's how you help out your channel. It also helps out the game, because you're bringing in more players, you're making more fun ways for players to interact with each other and interact with the game. But like, we don't really, like, no disrespect to anybody, but we don't really have a quote unquote like amazingly good player that's known on YouTube for Xenoverse. It's kind of like, I mean, I guess Xenoverse is not the the most competitive fighting game in the world, but we do have our like really good players on the game, and it's just like, well, they're for the most part they're unknown. Like they're known in the community by the other like good players, but in the community itself they're kind of unknown. Like you'll hear their name around, people talk about them, but again, they're just unknown. Like you'll see, for example, like Kashami, his channel is tiny. Like he's a really good player. His channel is tiny. He brings a lot of good content, but his channel is still tiny. Anderson, he brings a lot of good content. He makes a lot of good videos. He makes a lot of helpful stuff too. He makes a lot of cool videos. His channel is tiny. Perfect Sam, he does some amazing gameplay. He does crazy things. Channel is tiny. Decidia stuff, his channel's growing. I'm trying my best to help his channel grow too, but his channel is definitely growing. He plays like by far the best cast player like on the game. But again, his channel is relatively tiny. And then, even me, I'm not saying I'm the best player in the world, but shit, I got my own shit going on. But again, my channel is relatively small. And it's just things like that. Like we're not really known like that. And then like this is my own personal gripe what I'm about to say here. But then we have people like Afro Senju who I guess are entertaining as entertainment. It's subjective what you find entertaining. But in my eyes, he's kind of just there. He's just a loud noise on videos. Like he doesn't do anything spectacular. He doesn't really make any good gameplay. I think his videos are pretty lackluster. It's just a black guy screaming and making noise. And that's the kind of big YouTuber we have for the most part. We have Syriax too. I think he's probably the best out of all the bigger YouTubers. But then again, he's still on his way to learning all the stuff in the game, however little there is. Like the step cancels, guard cancels, things like that. But he's on his way to learning that stuff, and just in general. But we don't have any big YouTubers who you can look to and be like, damn, he does this extremely well. How he teaches us how to do this, he teaches us how to do that, and he teaches us all these cancels and why training is important, and showing us all these move combinations and breaking down why these moves work like properly and things like that. And it's what's kind of holding this game back as more of a fighter and keeping it as more of an RPG, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. And also I think this is why the community is the biggest problem for this game.
Yeah.
The community we are the power. What's gonna stay the same and what's gonna change maybe if we do things. And rhyme style is not the only option for us. We need to gather, we need to do videos like this, we need to tweet, we need to post, we need to do multitude of things to make the game change. Expose stuff too, like break the game as much as you can and expose the
problems.
The problems. So that's the thing. The community is the problem, because you have the fanboys that are good for the game because they're buying the game. So that is good for the sales, which means that's gonna secure Xenoverse 3, or they're gonna secure DLCs. That's great, but at the same time, you're gonna keep getting the same shit if you don't do any changes. By, like you said, stop buying DLCs. That can hurt their wallet. That's gonna make them ask you, what do you guys want then? Because they do listen, because if you look at it, they implemented the Super Saiyan 3, people requested it, they added new characters like Hit and like Black Goku because people were asking for it, so they do listen. But the thing is, for certain things that are more competitive wise, you need to push hard. It's going to be harder for us to get what we want. The casual player is going to get what they want at the end, because when you think about it, what makes a game successful is not the competitive player by say, it's more the casual player, because there are more. Like the 10-13% like pro level players in any game, they're not the majority. They're
the minority.
Exactly. So when it comes to that, we need to hit them as much as we can by any means necessary. Like if you want changes. Think about Call of Duty. People are complaining the same game every year after year after year. Well, you know what? People will keep buying their fucking game. They keep buying season pass. They keep buying DLC. So you keep getting fucked. So don't stop complaining. Do something about it. Stop buying. Like people recently stopped buying the Infinity Warfare. Well, about time, man. Or you're gonna get the same game 10 years ago in a row. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. Community is the biggest problem, and also it's the biggest chance for anything to change. Is we need to do something about it, and something about it is not just complaining. It's also giving solutions. So that's why, like, I approached you because I know you're a pretty smart guy. I listen to your videos. You have a wide opinion, and you're open to things. You're not a complainer. So it's what I saw in you. I was like, okay, I need to talk to this guy because I think he's on something. And also I saw like people attacking you guys. Like, I don't understand. Like, some people don't like changes, I guess. I think this game can evolve to something great. Maybe someday we're gonna have a Dragon Ball game in Evo. Like, this is
Yeah,
just a
that would
dream,
be
okay?
cool.
So yeah, like the thing is that Xenoverse 2 is a very successful game when it comes to sales comparison with Xenoverse 1. Xenoverse 1 sold 1.4 million in a month. Xenoverse 2 sold 1.5 million in a week. So that's very, very, very good for them. That means that Xenoverse 3 is pretty much secure. Uh, but when it comes to changes, that can be bad. So what we need to do is now, right now, because what people don't understand when it comes to DLCs, the DLCs plans are made sometimes before beta or right after beta. So the team is already working on them. All the plans are made, all the dates are made in advance. So what they're doing new animations, new voice casting for the, the characters, or new, like, everything, like new levels or new moves. All those things are being made the whole time. So if you bring new suggestions to add new characters, unless they are a very big majority, they won't happen. Maybe in the next game, but not necessarily in new DLCs that are coming.
Yeah, because of all the time they need to devote to making the character, the money they need to put into creating the models and the coding and putting it into the game. It would be kind of a waste to do that when you only see a minority of people requesting that. It's a bad business move.
Yeah, it's people don't understand sometimes because when the game is done, the team ram down. They don't keep the team. Let's say 200 people. They don't keep the team like that because it costs too much money. Most of the team move on another project. Sometimes on other projects, they get split, or sometimes like they keep a very few number to fix things or integrate new stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So things take a lot of time and cost a lot of money. So when you want certain things like that, you really need to, I will say, be realistic about your demands.
Yeah.
So I think the things that we can get, maybe, because right now, we talk about bugs, we talk about broken stuff. I also forget to talk about step vanish. I think it's something that is
Definitely an issue.
I think it's broken. There's a reason why, because you're invincible the whole time. So it costs nothing to do. There's no risk of doing it, besides doing too close to your opponent, going through and costing you stamina.
Yeah.
Besides that, there's no risk. There's, I think, one way I found to still punish somebody who does that, but it's kind of luck more than anything else. If I do AoE explosion right at the time that you vanish inside like my range, and I can hit you, because the active frames are long enough to hit you at the end of your vanish.
Yeah.
So that's the only way I found out of it. But I think, in my opinion, it destroyed completely the neutral of the game. If people don't understand what neutral means, is that you're outside of my normal's range. By a normal, I mean like a jab or something like that. So I cannot hit you. You can't hit me. We're in neutral range. Nobody has advantage. Like, you're not in block stun. I'm not in plus frames. So that's the neutral. The neutral is like the meta at the beginning of every round or every match. Okay. So what the step vanish does is control the whole neutral game, which is a bad thing. That's not good. competitive wise. It's cool to look at. You see people teleporting everywhere. You see, that's his Dragon Ball shit right there, but that's not good because you need some kind of reward and risk by doing it. There's solutions for that. Of course, one suggestion could be when you do one step vanish, it costs you half a bar or 1 bar of stamina every time you do it. So people will stop spamming it, because stamina is the key in this game. So yeah.
I think it's interesting though that if I don't know if you've tried this offline, but if you try and manual step vanish offline, but in training mode when fighting the computer, they can hit you out of it. Like they can hit you. The reason it's so bad online is because of the net coding and I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to coding, but for what I believe is the net coding and the online itself because of the lag. Like when there's the lag, you throw the punch and they just tank the hit because it didn't register because of, I don't know, the moving locations. I guess it just doesn't track correctly. And then it's just like, manual step vanishing in itself, it has too many pluses and not enough negatives. It's like playing a pot of greed and then drawing into a pot of greed and then pot of greed for us Yu-Gi-Oh players. It's just too many pluses, no downsides whatsoever. And then the another main serious problem with it is when you break someone's stamina, they can still do it. So it's like, okay, I broke your stamina, you recovered, and you just step vanish away till you're at full stamina. And if I caught you at let's say you had 2 stamina, and I broke your stamina, and you have 10 max, and you just step vanish away, and I had to burn up all my stamina to get you there. I'm gonna have no stamina, and you're gonna have 10 bars. And that immediately puts me at a completely unfair advantage because it's not like, oh, I managed my stamina badly or anything. It's just, well, it's something that shouldn't be in a game where stamina is a requirement for doing that. And because there's no cost to doing it, they can still use it while their stamina is broken to basically get away. It's more than a getaway card. It's more like I get away and now I have a free vacation to do whatever I want because
exactly.
Yeah, because now
exactly. It's like I'm a safe card. Like I can do what the fuck I want. Now I'm safe.
Yeah.
So that is bad. Like you said, you don't have to take much risk, and you don't have much downside to not doing it. So why not just keep doing it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a bad thing. Just to bring another problem, like you said, you talked about the online. I didn't bring online in the bugs topic because online is a different thing. Online it's not a bug because people keep saying, combos are dropping online and it's a big problem, it's an issue. Well, yes, it's an issue, but it's not a bug. I'm gonna explain why. It's the online is built that way. The combos are not dropping offline, which means the combos are fine. The problem is that sometimes the combo require certain frames to hit that are too small, and online with the delay make almost that move impossible to hit. Like I can give you example with Mortal Kombat. Sometimes you had 3-frame combos links that are extremely hard to pull off even offline. When you try that shit online, it's never gonna hit. You know what I mean? So that's a big this is a big thing for a fighting game. Like for Xenoverse 2, the major problem is that they didn't change the online code. It's the same old school synchronizing shit that they keep using for years and years and years in most of the games. So if you take Street Fighter V and Mortal Kombat X that recently adopted the new system called GGPO, which is more a lag-free almost system that give you the local player no lag at all. When you play, you don't have absolutely zero delay on your input, zero delay on your moves, and when you hit somebody in your screen, it's gonna hit no matter fucking what. Okay, what's gonna happen is that the opponent is gonna get a roll back to what you actually did, so he's gonna get hit no matter what.
I think we should quickly just explain what GGPO is. So basically, I only just learned about it just now too, so I might not be 100% with this. I'll make sure to link the article that Deathstroke linked to me so you guys can have a read in the description below. But essentially what it is so when there's any sort of delay, from what I understand, is when there's any sort of delay online, or if there would be delay, the game has smart prediction, which would predict what you would have done in that situation. So if you don't put the inputs in, or the inputs don't register, the game will predict what you would have done and then do the actions anyway. But if you do put the inputs in, that command will be removed, so the inputs that you put in would be, would go into action. So it's basically what I came to understand in the few minutes that I managed to read from some of the article. But it's a good article, so so be sure to read it, guys. It's in the comment section. It'll be in the description for anybody who's interested. Sorry for that. Carry on.
No, this is very good. What is the good thing about this is it's almost a lag-free system. It's very, very good. I'm not lying. I'm not like, I don't work for Capcom. I don't work for NRS, so this is like every single fighting game, in my opinion, should use the system from now on. Even games like Smash, they should definitely use that, because that can really improve everything for the game, increase the sales for even the casual players, because a lot of casual players are buying the game for the online, and what is preventing them from buying the game is the online shit. By what I mean by shit is that there's so many issues with the online that is preventing them to take the game seriously, even on a casual level, which is very, very bad, and that really, really hurt the game. So what now? I'm complaining right now, you see, but I bring you to a suggestion, like things that we can do to fix that. So don't expect GGPO to come in a patch. That's never gonna happen. It costs too much money. They need to rework the full netcode to make it happen. What can happen though is that we maybe can have this in a DLC, even if it's an expensive DLC. Like they did it for Mortal Kombat. They sold us Combat Pack 2 with like 4 characters, a map, a level, and whatever. And they completely changed the online. Completely. So it's a new system, lag-free. Even the best Mortal Kombat player in the world, Sonic Fox, said himself that going to locals is almost useless now, since the system is so good that you can play at home and level up from your couch. You don't need to go on locals anymore and challenge your pro players over and over again. Like, you don't need to move anymore to just level up. So that's a big thing that can really, really make this game live longer if the online is better. And also, like, I really, really hope they're gonna do that in a like I said, the DLC maybe, or maybe for like Xenoverse 3. If that would be my last thing. Like, if that doesn't happen in the DLC, please at least change it for Xenoverse 3. We need to really complain about it. We really need to do things about it, or you're gonna get the same thing again for Xenoverse 3.
Yeah. I think we've covered most of what what there is in the game. I think what we need to talk about now is moving on from what you said, what we should have in the DLC. Because I was thinking, like, for example, like, I know a lot of people were mad that they didn't get to play Demigra, because I know a lot of cast players, and Demigra was in Xenoverse 1. I know he was on exclusive on the PC version because you could just mod him in and things like that. And it's kind of just like, well, on PS4 we lose out on a lot of things that the PC do, because PC can mod, they can add in this, they can literally put in their own characters into the game. We can have Naruto on Xenoverse 2 on PC, because we have that kind of ability to mess with the files and put in whatever we want. So I'm not saying give us the ability to add our own characters in. I mean, besides custom characters, what I'm saying is give us the something like an ability to, like how Warframe does it, where we design, I don't know, for example, Warframe would do a weapon or a frame. Give us the chance to do something like design clothing or accessories, or for the players who are good enough to do this, moves even, and do contests, and contest winners are like, hey, so we'll put some money into putting these into the game. So it inspires more people to get interactive with you as a company, and then it gives you better feedback with us, the consumer, because that's one of the most important things. Good company relationship with the consumer. Like, you want your consumer to be happy. You want them to enjoy your product, and if they don't, then you're gonna lose out on sales. So why not try and maximize on sales if you see it's going to be profitable in the long run? I mean, yes, it'll be more costly early on, but once it starts becoming an actual thing, I think it would become, it would become more profitable for you as a company later on to do stuff like this, because it's more interactive, and it makes people feel like, hey, they actually care about me as an individual, and they take time to look at what I am doing. I'm being rewarded for my creativity and my abilities, and it's just a nice thing to do, because it helps the community as well as the company itself. And helping the company means that the game, it will be better, because they'll have more funding to put into the game, as well as other games in the future. And if we know that we're being cared for, we're more likely to stick around and stay loyal and wanna play the game.
That's a pretty good idea, man. I agree with that 100%. I also another suggestions that can really increase the chance of this game going more friendly and more communicative with the devs is that you can organize, even if it's just Twitch tournaments or local tournaments, that can really help Bandai like caring about you guys and the game. Like take a game like Smash. Again, I'm not a Smash player, but the game was seen from the competitive, like hardcore players, more like a casual at the beginning. And I can tell you, my friend, this is one fucking hard game to master. And like, if you see the footsie's level at this game and the requirement to be super good at this game, it's crazy. But what made this game very visible in a competitive way, and or any just casual way, is the community to bring the game to live forever and ever. Like even Melee at this time still at Evo, man, that is crazy. Like I don't know if people understand, but it's a super old game that is still live to this day because the community made the game live forever.
It came out on Nintendo 64 first, didn't it? And it's a long time, and it's still around now.
So what made that happen is the community. So we have the power to make that happen. What you need to do though is work. You need to work. Videos, like I said, event tournaments. Even if it's a tournament, like let's say cast characters only, or Saiyan Saga only, Freezer Saga only, whatever. Make the rules as you want or whatever. Make the game visible. Like keep it alive, or the game gonna die. It's just simple as that. We need to work to make this happen. Mortal Kombat would have probably died if the community wasn't as strong as it is, because Street Fighter 5, it's a beast, and the fighting world of video games, Street Fighter is king. This is the most played fighting game, the biggest community with Smash. So that is the two kings of the fighting games. When you take games like Tekken and Guilty Gear, yeah, they're played, but they're not as big as Street Fighter. This is just what it is. If you want Dragon Ball to reach that level, we can make that happen. We really can if we put the work in, like you do, like a lot of YouTubers are doing. Even if they're low key, they are the roots. Like the power that can make things change.
Yeah, I think it's kind of tough to think about it, because at the end of the day, what needs to happen is all of us would need to get a lot of exposure, and we would need to be able to grow. But I think what we really need to do is like come together into one small community where we as individuals communicate with each other our ideas and support each other, but with the bigger people, so we have a chance to, spread out and, influence more people, because at the end of the day, we are still small, and even though we are small, we know what we're talking about to a certain level that others may not have, because again, like looking at the bigger YouTubers, we have Omega Pro making videos on how to stamina break as a Saiyan male. You watch the video, it has like 20,000 views, and it's literally something that has no viability online. Whereas you go on to, I don't know, for example, Kashami's video, and it'll be how to stamina break, with Saiyan males online, and it's gonna be, okay, here's option 1, 2, 3, and 4. this works like this because this works like this because you want to do this one because this one is safer because, and it's kind of like, well, one video is more for the entertainment value rather than, for the actual knowledge and viability that goes into what's in the video, and the other is more about knowledge and viability and how and why things work rather than for the entertainment value, because it's not going to be more, it'll be more of a straightforward video of him just saying, okay, here's this, why it works, how it works, why you want to do this over this, when you want to do this over that, instead of, okay, so this works and this works, I like to do this one, and then, just a bunch of other things in like the 20-minute video or 10-minute video than it is, like it's just the difference between video types and the people making the videos, and people need to be able to differentiate between them. Whereas channels like, channels like Omega Pro are more for the entertainment, and although they will they do those kind of videos too, it's not as it won't be as viable as someone like, I don't know, Anderson or Dissidia stuff, or me doing something like that, because it's just, this is the video, this is me doing the action, this is me doing whatever the tutorial is, and this is why and how these work. It's more in depth to help you improve at the game. And I know his video is also to help you improve at the game, but the difference is, like, in the most polite way of saying this, I'm good at the game.
Yeah, well, there's like you said, there's two different type of people. There's the entertainers that are business-wise, they're making money doing videos on YouTube and Twitch and all that stuff. That's great, that's good for them, and I'm happy for them, so they can make a living out of it or extract money. That's great. But then after that, you have the students, the people who put hard work, the grind, the people who go into the lab. Now I'm going to tell you a story. I have like 600 hours on Mortal Kombat, and I'm pretty sure I have like another 300 hours on my PS4 because I have it both on PC and PS4. The reason why I have on two systems is because when I'm at work, during my lunchtime, I launch my Mortal Kombat, man. I start labbing for an hour, and then I go back to work. Because I'm a lab monster, I spend most of my time, I would say at least 90% of my hours are in the training mode, testing shit, testing setups, testing plus frame combos, and all those things, and traps, and all the requirement to be able to level up in my game. So, like people like Rhymestyle and Omega Pro, they're not necessarily doing that. What they're doing is that they're trying to stay entertaining so they can keep having new subscribers and people just entertained by them and keep watching them because they enjoy them as an entertainer. But the more hardcore players are not gonna really necessarily watch their videos because they're not gonna learn anything new watching them. So I understand your point of view. For my story, I'm gonna tell you something. I was once too a scrub. I'm not gonna lie. I thought I was invincible in Mortal Kombat when the game came out. And I played for some few months, and I thought like nobody can beat me. I was beating everybody in the ranked match, and I thought I was godlike. Until one day, I played a guy like that is now my friend called Voidness. He's a semi-pro Mortal Kombat player, and he whooped my ass so hard. Like the first 3 ranked match we did. I think he flawless me like 2 times, and I could barely touch him, and he was doing shit to me that I never saw before, and I was like, fuck, this is a problem. So what I did is because I played on Steam against him, I added him as a friend. He said to me, why are you adding me? I said, look, I want to play you more. So after that, we did the private matches, and we played 40 straight games, and he whooped my ass, like at least 30 of them. And after that, I was like, good. So in Mortal Kombat, you have a feature that records your gameplay. Every replays, if you want the options on, you can record your replays and you can rewatch what happened. So after that, I spent 3 hours watching every game. Every single game we did, I rewatched them. I spotted the things that I did wrong, like why I keep getting hit by certain things, what are my habits, why I cannot block certain setups or mix-ups. And you know what? I level up by just doing that in every single game. You're never gonna get better if you don't lose. Sometimes you need to lose a lot to get better. So you know what? I keep playing that guy over, and then at a certain point, now I can kick his ass. Like I'm better than him because I keep playing and I learn every single matchup in the game. Sometimes people, like I said before, they're not adapting, they're complaining, but they don't know every single matchup. You know, sometimes they didn't, they're not aware every move or everything in the game. You need to really put the effort of knowing everything. So why I talk about this little story is that doesn't matter if you win or lose. What matters is that you can spot your problems, your issues. That's the only way to get better at any game or anything you do in life. You need to learn from your mistake. And don't be egocentric and be an asshole. Start insulting the players or start like being, you have to keep playing them. You know, like now I have a new friend, because I had it, that guy. I played as much as I could against that guy to evolve and be better. So that's a good tip. Like if you want to like progress in anything, like that's the way to do it.
All right, that's great. Well, uh, I think for that one, for me, it's kind of my problem is I don't like, I get bored of the game because for me it's like, okay, so I play against the more casual players, okay, like 95% of the time I'll either whoop their ass or I'll win. 5% of the time I'll lose. No, 4% of the time I'll lose, like, then it's the 1% of the time where I lose to like the game not turning me around or one of the bugs in the game. And it's kind of like, well, so I have to stick with fighting the same group of people to actually have fun playing, because then that's when the fights become risky, the fights become close, and that's when they're fun. But because I have to play the same, like I'm sure that, like, everybody else knows what I'm talking about, like understands what I'm talking about. I'm sure you do too. Like once you start just winning and winning and winning, it gets to the stage where it gets boring. It doesn't feel like you're learning anything new. It doesn't feel like anything new is happening. You're kind of just, okay, so it's match to match, winning to winning. And because because I make videos now, it's gotten to the point where I join a room and I have to message people not to kick me out of the room because they either know who I am, or they see my points, or they just don't want to fight. Like majority, like ever since I started doing Xenoverse 2 videos, like 90% of the time I get kicked from the room before I even get to fight, and then like the other 10% of the time I get kicked from the room after I get my fight. And it's just
that is an extreme big problem in this game. The ranking system needs to be reworked completely, because the BP system is bullshit and it's not working. They took that system from Street Fighter, I think. Street Fighter 5 used the same kind of thing. It's not really working. You need a real ranking system with divisions that put the higher players, we have the biggest winning percentage against good player in the same bracket than the average players in the same bracket and the lowest players in the same bracket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the only way. And also change completely the kicking thing, like you said. Okay, first kick, fine. Mortal Kombat, you have the same thing. If you queue for a ranking match, the first player you have, you can kick him. The second time, if the same player rejoin you, you're forced to play that guy. So you cannot kick that guy anymore. So that's a one solution that you can implement, because the ranking system right now is not working at all. But the problem is that the community is not big enough right now for the competitive. Sometimes on PC, I need to wait like 5-10 minutes to have one game. So on PS4, I don't know how it's going for you guys, but what can be also a solution if GGPO appears and happen, we can have cross-platform like Street Fighter has. PS4 and PC player can play together. So that could be huge. But the problem is that the cheating problem with the PC players can happen to you then. So they need to figure out a way to have the files on server side and not on client side anymore, so the PC player cannot cheat anymore. So that's a big problem. Because in Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, you can't really cheat.
Yeah, you can still do things like custom skins and all that stuff. That would be really cool.
Yeah. That's great. That's not a problem. That can only appear on local player who's doing it, but not on the the open. online. So that's fine. But if I have something like auto perfect block and like 5 billion health, or if I one flick punch you in the face and you die, that's a big problem for PS4 players. You know, like if you play against a PC player who does that kind of shit. So like cheating is a problem. Needs to be addressed like in the next game, I think, because I don't think they're gonna again rework the full system to put all the files server side. That would mean that you need to make a new character on the servers, and that would be a problem. I think we can hope maybe to have it, like I said, in a DLC if we pay for it. It's not gonna be free. People are expecting right now like a patch to cheat for cheaters. I think the people is gonna have to wait because it's not. I don't think it's gonna happen honestly. It require too much resource, require too much work. Um, if you want to have the best bet to have a safe gameplay right now, I would suggest players to buy the game on consoles, maybe not on PC. I bought the game on PC because I want to support the PC because I don't want them to stop making games on PC. Um, I think, like I said, if we uh, talk about the problems, maybe we can have this fixed in the future games. And I think they're doing good. They're listening to us. I think if we, like I said, if we're loud enough, and we heard them where it means something, their wallet, I think maybe things can happen.
Yeah. I think another thing for ranked though is this new system. I mean, it's good that they've listened to us again for this to get rid of this whole rage quitting ranked for no problems thing. But the issue that's happening now is that when someone rage quits, it causes the other person to disconnect too, and in most cases that causes both people to lose their BP. So the person who was just playing and the person who rage quit. Like it happened to my friend Mr. Toby, I believe, where someone rage quit on him and he lost all his BP. And it's just things like that those are the issues. I think one thing that they can kind of do to maybe not get rid of that kind of problem, because I don't think a lot of people who play Xenoverse 2 would know how to do coding, computer work, and things. But I think one thing they could do, definitely, is pick, I don't know, maybe 20 people, in excluding like the big YouTubers, because, you know, naturally they're big YouTubers anyway, so they're going to listen to them regardless because they're big YouTubers and they have influence. But pick 20 people or maybe 10 people recommended by those YouTubers, or maybe, you know, if they do some, like they go looking around or something, I don't know, or recommended by those YouTubers to test, to play the game, like to test the game, to like, because they could do things like, hey, so for example, they'll email the person like, hey, so we'd like you to test this or that, and then, you know, they'd give you a special download or a special code for you to download to get access to this temporarily, as long as the person agrees to an NDA, because you have to keep the content, you know, it has to be off air or off the web to be tested, you know, safely, to make sure it's all good, and so it doesn't get like leaked or anything. Spoilers, wrong kind of thing here. Leaked or anything, so they can test it with players who are recommended to as good players, so that they can see, you know, okay, so this move might be too strong, or this character might be too strong, and this and this and that, because, like, for example, I like to play Android 17. He's my favorite cast character by far. But I'll tell you right now, if Android 17 hits you with his TSTS into the ground stamina break, and he does that 2 more times, he will kill you from full health. And it's just that simple.
Well, like, it's funny that you bring that subject. That's my opinion, so people can expose me if they want. If they have facts, I don't care. I'm open to any discussions. Honestly, I think the cast characters are the strongest in this game.
Oh, I think so too.
I don't think the created characters are as strong as they were in Xenoverse 1. I can tell you why, for one simple reason. The cast characters have better normals. By better normals, I mean just jabs attack and back punches and just easier confirm combos that do more damage, that has less scaling, and they're just better. It's just simple as that. They just have better normals. And is it a problem? I don't think so. Maybe that's exactly a cue for new ranking matches with more options to have maybe just cast characters only or created character only like more options that could really resolve this very easily. This I think is reasonable to ask that for in a patch. I think we probably gonna get it. Um, Also, one thing I think will be good if we can get in the new feature is a better training mode. It's very good that we have a training mode. I'm very happy. I'm not like
Not
complaining or
complaining.
anything.
Yeah.
But I think if we just add a record AI feature that Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter 5 has, would be even better. All right, just to go back to the record AI thing. Yeah, it's a feature that you can press a button on your controller and you take control of the AI in the training mode, and you can press any input or do any move or combos or anything you can do for a certain period of time. Let's say 3 minutes or whatever max. And after you press pause again, the AI is going to keep doing exactly the same thing that you just did while recording. So it gives you the option to test certain things, certain situations very easily by just a simple thing in the training mode. So that would be a very good feature to have, I think, maybe in a patch or future games for sure. That would be very good. Um, I think it covers mostly everything. I think, in my opinion, of my ideas of what it comes to Xenoverse 2 right now and the current situation. I think as a casual game, people should buy this. It's an amazing game, good storyline. They listened to us. They did add new stuff. They're planning to support the game for a long time because they don't want us to, buy the game for 3 weeks or 2 months and then sell the game back. They really mean to release DLCs and characters and missions and stuff we want. That's good. But if you're a competitive player, I will say maybe not. I don't think this game is ready for serious competitive play. The online is not at the level yet, like I said. And another thing, I don't think the competitive aspect of the game is going to live for long unless we do something about it. So it's a risky situation. This is my opinion on the subject.
For training, going back to training mode, just before I give how I feel about the game. I don't know. I'll probably just put a video of this actually, so showing people what I'm talking about. So, a lot of you probably haven't heard of the game Skullgirls. It's a really kind of underground-ish kind of game. It had some play at tournaments and things, but when it comes to training mode, that game gave you everything you needed. It gave you hit stuns, it gave you durations, it gave you your hitboxes, so you knew what your hitbox was. It gave you each individual thing in different color boxes. You're gonna see it in the video because I'm gonna put it up for you guys to look. I'm just gonna show you a couple of examples of things, but I'm not saying implement that exactly. But if we had something along those lines, that would make this game's competitive scene, in my opinion, because to be honest, I don't really feel like this game has a real competitive scene in the sense of comparing it to Street Fighter in games. But if we did have something like that, it would make the game feel more in depth, because then it's like, so you want to learn hit stuns, things like that, instead of just, okay, so I mean, I guess you could still just go into training mode and practice your combo and see which ones stun for longer and things like that. But having something like that will help out so much more, because then you can learn more in depth about how certain things impact other things, and how movement is like how when you hit someone they move a certain range compared to how you hit them in another way, they move a certain range. It's just things like that that could make the game have a real competitive scene, because it would be kind of cool to see something like that, tournaments in Evo, and being taken a little more seriously and having a little more respect put on it, because at the end of the day, it is still just Dragon Ball, and that's just kind of how it is for competitive. It's just a Dragon Ball game, and it's kind of what most people will just look at you and say, well, it's just a Dragon Ball game at the end of the day. And then apart from that, the game itself, in my opinion, it's a worth a buy. Like, it's a good idea to buy the game. I'm not gonna, I do have my gripes with the game. I do have my problems with the game. But, as someone just looking for a fun game to play, and just something to, spend your time on for a bit. I know it's £60, but it's a fun game to play. I won't lie, the story mode was good. It was tedious at some parts, but that was just for me. It was good, it was enjoyable. The online, if manual step vanishing gets worked on a bit more, I would say that this game's online would definitely be much better and it'd be more fun to play. But taking all the game for what it is, I would say it's worth the buy. It's a good game to play. It's worth the buy. It's enjoyable and it's good to play with friends. And with adding expert quests and expert missions and things, that is also pretty fun. And with them adding raids and things, it does make the game more fun. And just in general, things like that. I think where the problem really lies, outside of the game itself, is with us as a community. We're, like I've said this before in another video, our community is filled with, the casual players, the players who don't really know what they're doing. And then, we have the players who know what they're doing. And then we have, the assholes of the game who imply skill, like we have a lot of these Dreadrick streamers who are like, I don't know, the personality of a peanuts trying to play a game online and try and just imply that they're so much better than everyone else when they have no real reason or merit to do it. Like we have just a lot of people exploiting a lot of things, like what's his name, Orlando, Life are Real, picks Namekian because everybody knows like Namekian and Majins are like free wins because they're just kind of compared to all the other races. And then it's just like people just talk shit for no real reason. Like me right now in this video, I'm throwing shade at these guys because nobody else wants to, because I don't know why. Like it feels like I'm the only person who's not afraid to talk about people in the way that they need to be talked about. Like just things like that are like just another thing. People are too scared to talk on this game. People are too scared to challenge. Like a lot of people are promoting this. I've said this again before. A lot of people are promoting this fake positivity, and it's just things like that I don't like. It's a fighting game. Shit talking is essential to fighting games. It's part of the game. I'm not saying go out of your way to attack someone and make them feel like shit or whatever, but casual shit talking and banter is part of the game. It's part of what makes the game fun. Like Dope Mind Beats will tell you that's definitely true. Like this too, Deathstroke. Like it's just, it makes the game fun. Talking shit to people, yeah, it creates that rivalry. Yeah, it creates that rivalry. It's like, oh, you're garbage. Oh, you're garbage. All right, see me on fucking Xenoverse. You know what I mean? People want to fight. It's fun. But then when you're just a stuck-up asshole sitting in Discord chats dissing people because they're getting somewhere, and you're not, it's kind of like, well, all right, okay.
So don't worry about that. Like I said before, all those peoples, they're gonna get exposed. All the people that are abusing stuff or broken shit, and this their main strategy, they're all gonna get exposed. People like this is your Shadowpeer is gonna, that kind of player, if he plays them, I put all my money on him. He's gonna fuck them so hard, they're gonna feel like they've been fucking the ass like Lulu. So I don't care what they think they are good or whatever. He's gonna destroy them so hard. They're gonna pray for him to leave him alone, stop fucking them. Trust me, this is what happened to me too. Like I said, my friend Voidness, like he fucked me so hard. Like he told me, you can't jump on me no more for free. I'm gonna punish you every time. You need to mix up better. You need to do this and that. Also, like I was doing so many mistakes, like playing unsafe too much, and you know what I mean? Like sometimes you need to be exposed to get better. And all those guys that are streamers and YouTubers that think they're so good, and honestly, I don't want to pull out names, but I saw a lot of them that are pretty bad. Honestly, I think I'm better than them by far, and I don't claim to be good. I don't claim that I'm being on the top, because I'm new to the game still. I'm learning. I stay in my training mode, man. I keep practicing stuff. I play online sometimes to practice my new tech and learn new things and new matchups and stuff, So I think you don't need to worry too much. All those guys, like I said, they're gonna get a lesson at some point. The game is still new. It's coming, trust me. People are gonna learn new broken shit, and when that is gonna happen, they're gonna be forced to adapt. If they don't, well, this is the end for them.
Oh, well, damn, it's been over an hour for this video. It was a long video, but there's a lot of things that definitely needed to be said. I'm glad we had this time to go over these things, and it was pretty interesting. This is the first time I actually met Deathstroke, and it was definitely fun meeting you, man. It's these kind of reasons that I'm glad that I did start YouTube, because I do meet a lot of really cool, really interesting people. So thank you for taking part in this video. Thank you for approaching me to give me this opportunity to have this talk with you on my channel.
Thank you, dude. It's a huge, honorable moment for me because I've been following you for quite some time on YouTube, and it's a huge opportunity for me to speak my piece on the community and the game and the future of this game. So thank you a lot again to have me tonight. It took a lot of hard work for you to make this happen. So thank you a lot.
No worries, bro. But anyway, guys, any of you out there, don't be scared to approach me. Like, I'll tell you, I've said this many times. I'm just a guy. Like, I'm the same as all of you. I drink milk from the carton just like everyone else. So don't be scared to approach me. If you'd like to do a video with me, then just let me know in my comment section. Or just message me on PSN. We'll see what's good. If it's an idea that I like, and if it's an idea that you like, and we both are interested in, then I'm perfectly fine to do the video. It'll be fun. This was definitely a fun time. But yeah, thanks guys. I hope you enjoyed. Oh my god, I can't even talk. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you, Deathstroke, yet again for taking part. This was your boy. Sorry. Oh god. Yeah, this is your boy Sly, and I'm signing out. Have an awesome day, everyone. Good night.